Hello, and yesterday was the last day of the final stand preview. So we had a look at all the maps, we had a look at Capture the Flag, and yesterday it was Rush on Hammerhead. And Hammerhead has 4 sets of MCOMs. This, I think, is the second set. I didn't really have much chance to play it. I think I did 6 rounds in all. So I got some footage and I can give you my impressions of it, but I can't really give you a detailed breakdown of it because I just didn't have the time. From what I did play, it seems to work really well. There were some arguments about the balance of the game, but you seem to get arguments from both sides. Some people said it was balanced in favour of the defenders, some people said it was balanced in favour of the attackers. So I guess if you've got both points of view coming across, then you're probably somewhere in the middle and people just like to moan. So here I'm trying to open up the walls so we can shoot in at the defenders. Works pretty well. It does mean that we can see into there. The defenders for some reason tend to go either straight at the building or down the right hand side, because the attackers often get up onto this higher ground first. In fact, in this round, no defender comes up this way at all. So I've got pretty much free rein up here to spot anybody running towards the buildings and take a few pot shots at them. I am using the wonderful new little spotting gadget. Now, originally I was disappointed that it doesn't have a laser sight inbuilt, because its description says it's built on a laser sight and a tugs. But you soon get to realise that this gadget is not designed for assault rifles and carbines. It is designed for DMRs and sniper rifles, because it lets you spot from a long way away and it doesn't have a glow. If you think about it, sniper rifles really don't have much to put in that slot. So this is a cool little attachment that means you don't have to keep spamming Q all the time, and you can look down your scope and spot people. Scope wise, I tend to use the 3.4 times scopes because they're about the right magnification, but I do wish they would take up less real estate on the screen. Why are the surrounds on the 3.4 times scopes just so big? The viewing area is tiny compared to the size of the scope surround. Doesn't seem to make much sense to me. So going to swap the action over to a bit of defense, and coming up is one of the reasons why you should always pull back to defend and not stay up shooting people. I know it's fun staying up shooting people at the old objectives, but it is a good idea to pull back. So I throw out a couple of slams, get ready to pick people off at range with the DMR, and then Snowmobile comes hurtling down as the guy tries to get to the objective and get it armed before we get back. So it is always a good idea to pull back. You know, playing the objective is something that lots of people shout about. I play the objective when it's fun or when I think it's a good idea. It's not something I'm overly serious about. There's a lot of people who will scream in the chat, you know, my team was rubbish, nobody played the objective. There are people who make YouTube videos, not mentioning any names, saying how bad the state of the game is because nobody plays the game properly like they do. Yeah, that kind of thing really winds me up. Battlefield's supposed to be a fun game. It's not an overly serious tactical shooter, and it's one of the reasons why I'm a bit iffy about the next CTE initiative, which is team play. Now I'm hoping this is looking at the dumb perk system. That just doesn't seem to have ever worked since the game launched. Or it's going to be encouraging people to play in ways that don't ruin the game. What I hate to see would be them forcing people to adopt a specific style of play because that's how they think you should play. People should be able to play how they want. Some people pop in, play a couple of rounds, disappear. All they want is a fun time. They don't want to be hassled into playing objectives and guarding flags and all that kind of stuff. So I'm hoping it's just going to be a sort of gentle guide and encouragement, not strict rules. Anyway, let's get back to Hammerhead and Rush. So, one of the encouraging things is that there's a Rush map being tested this early on. And I think DICE LA have learnt a lot from the CTE testing of the Rush improvements that they did to the vanilla maps. They got a lot of feedback about what makes a good Rush map, what players liked, what they didn't like, and they've worked that into the Rush versions of these 4 new maps. What we got from the vanilla maps and the early DLCs was that they were conquest maps, and Rush had been kind of bolted onto them. They'd done their best to make interesting Rush maps, but they were kind of restricted because they'd built a 64-man conquest map, not an all-round map. But it's an encouraging sign that Capture the Flag and Rush have been thought of this early on and tested out this early on as well. It is just a shame that it's the final DLC before this starts happening. Back in the gameplay, well, we're on attack again, and here you can see an Amtrak rampage. So, get in the Amtrak and just drive it straight at the objectives, straight up the middle, and as you can see, the defenders haven't got here yet. Now, the Amtrak isn't the fastest vehicle in the world, but we get out. I should probably have stayed in, but you know, teammate gets over there, arms the MCOM, and I decide, right, I'm going to jump back into the Amtrak, and I start trying to defend this central area with the launcher and the machine guns. And this is the reason why you have to deal with the Amtrak in this game mode, because it's now sitting here as a gun emplacement and mobile spawn point. In the end, we win this round pretty comfortably, and I have to say that I did enjoy Rush on Hammerhead. And I think that's because Hammerhead is a well-designed map, and they've actually thought about Rush while designing the map. When it comes to the Rush mode itself, well, they've got the balance right with the Amtrak and the snowmobiles. There's nothing too overpowering in there, and it's primarily an infantry rush mode. So, I think this one works really well. Thanks for watching.